Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Marky Picks. And today I got another prize pick slip for you, and I got some game picks for you for Friday night. We're covering NBA and college football, so plenty of sports for you guys to pick from. A quick recap on yesterday's slip, prize pick slip: 4-2 on the main slip. Solid percentage once again. We've been really locking back in over these last few days, back to the normal percentages, and these are winning percentages. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Keep getting these percentages. I'm shooting around 4 out of 6 every single slip. That's a really good percentage, really good profit. Especially if you split these picks up into smaller slips, you're gonna be profiting somewhere. But anyway, quick recap on some of these picks. The Justin Herbert one. Was really frustrating me because I got to be better, taking the combined stat here, I was thinking I was getting a little bit of a better edge taking the combined stat. It ended up burning us because if I would have just took a straight passing yards under, it would have hit because he didn't get over that 253.5 passing yards. I think he finished with like 230 or something like that, which would have hit. I thought I was going to get a little bit smart here and combine it to get a bigger cushion. He ended up getting 60 rushing yards in his game. That's just that ended up being like the big difference there, which really screwed up here. Should have been a 5 out of 6. That's my fault. I got to be better. I will get better here on today's slip. Jordan Mason. I was hoping for a reboot here. He only ended up getting like 4 carries on the game due to the game script and them being blown out for like the whole game. It ended up just not even being a factor. He wasn't even involved in their offense at all. Again, only 4 carries for like 3 yards. So, I mean, it was really just a waste of a pick, to be honest. Game script really did screw us up here. Cameron Brown, though, on the college football side of things, he did exactly what I projected him to do. I projected him to get around 300, at least 300 yards. He ended up getting over 300 yards. I just thought this line was way too low. And I checked, right before kickoff, his line dropped down to like 252. I was like, what are these guys smoking over there on PrizePicks? Because that's crazy to get out. I locked it in on a 2-pick. I locked that in with like a Herbert, so it didn't work. I mean, I didn't do that well tonight on PrizePicks, just because of the 2 that I didn't hit on, Herbert and Mason. I was kind of higher on them, so I had them on more slips, and it ended up burning me by 1 because, man, I just got to be better with that Herbert pick, man. I was really frustrating me all night, and I think I'm going to make some adjustments on tonight's slate. But anyway, finish the recap here. Aaron Gordon, one of his best games of his career, and I mean, I wasn't even expecting this to happen. I think the dude dropped like 50 real points, so I mean, we didn't even need the points, rebounds, and assists. He was able to do it just scoring his regular points. Just a phenomenal showing here out of Aaron Gordon. He's really turning back the clock and looked like the prime Aaron Gordon when he was on the Magic. He was just I think he had like 10 threes in his game. Just insanity. But he was able to easily cash that as he pretty much tripled the damn line. Jonathan Kuminga, another one that I took it as an insurance policy. And like I said in yesterday's video, when I take these kind of picks, they always hit. At least they tied a line. So that's what I was expecting for here. He was stuck on 4 for majority of that fourth quarter, but he was able to get one, I think, in overtime. I think it's when he got it. Or he actually got it near the end of the fourth quarter. But able to cash out there. Again, no, not really a sweat there. Pascal Siakam as well. He's the main guy on this Pacers team with no Halliburton out there. And Andrew Nembhard actually got hurt in this game as well. So that's 2 of their stars that were out of this game for the Pacers. And it was really just the Mathurin and Siakam show for the whole fourth quarter and double overtime. He was stuck on 19 points there for a little bit, and he did not shoot well at all from the free throw line, which I thought was going to end up costing us. But just the way the game was going, I mean, he was going to get plenty of chances to shoot the ball, and he was able to drop a whole lot of points. He dropped 32 points, well over 19.5. All in all, we really smashed these lines today. There was really no sweats except for the ones that didn't hit. But still, he only got the 289 passing plus rushing yards. Still wasn't terribly far off, but still something I gotta get better at. I've adjusted for tonight's slate. I'm really happy with tonight's picks, so I'm feeling really confident that we're going to go 6 for 6 on today's picks. But hurry up and get these picks in because these lines are subject to change for today. So starting off here, not going to waste anybody's time here. First pick of the main slip here today. We got Kyron Drones over 240.5 passing plus rushing yards. I got him projected at 244.3. Got Virginia Tech taking on California here. Virginia Tech's actually favored by 6.5 points here. They are at home. And this is a spot where I really like Drones' matchup versus California's defense. California's defense has been very suspect at times, and I don't think they travel very well at all. They're going to make that long, trip across the coast. Usually that doesn't bode well for those West Coast teams when they have to travel all the way across the East Coast. I expect them to be a little bit sluggish. I expect Kyron Drones to make a lot of plays. I don't really expect California to pressure him at all either. They're pretty below average when it comes to pressuring quarterbacks. And Drones is a rushing quarterback anyway, so he definitely has upside here, both passing plus rushing. I like both of them, so that's why I'm taking the combined stat here. 244.3 projection. Not too crazy over, but I think it's a very solid value in a game where it should be pretty competitive. But I do expect Virginia Tech to win this game. And I think California's defense is going to be a little bit sluggish in this game, so I like the over here to start out the college football. Pick number 2, we got Caleb Ramseur under 44.5 rushing yards. We got him at 44.6. Quick insight here. We got Nevada taking on Boise State. This should be a blowout of a game here. I think Boise State's favored by 21.5 points. Let me just check real quick. They are favored by 21.5 points, and it's a 51.5 point total as well. So Nevada's not really projected to score that many points. I mean, maybe a touchdown they're giving them. But Boise State's got a very good, defensive front. They might not look good on paper because they are giving up, they have not been very good when it comes to defending the rush, but I do like some of their guys up front, and I think they can make it, very tough on Nevada to run the ball at all in this game. This is really like a first half kind of stat we're taking. Because we're expecting such a blowout in this game, we're really expecting this to be a situation where, he probably gets, around, I would say, at least 6 to 7 carries in that first half, maybe, depending on how it's going. If it's working, they might just keep running the ball for a little bit. We're hoping he stays under around like that 30 rushing yards by halftime. If he's under that, we're looking good for the under here because, again, at that point, Nevada should be down by at least 2 touchdowns or 2 scores at least at halftime. If Nevada stays competitive in this game, we're going to be looking a little concerned. But in this situation, I mean, Ramseur isn't a guy that smashes rushing yards anyway. So he gets around, the same amount of rushing yards, which is around 40 to 50 rushing yards a game. So we're hoping he stays under here in a game that, again, should be a blowout. So we're hoping it stays here. I know my projection has him right at the line. So, it's one of those that, could be a little risky, but I'm going to have some feel here and say that the game script goes against his rushing ability in this game. So now we're on to the NBA now. First pick for NBA, we got Norman Powell over 3.5 rebounds. I got him projected at 6.19. This is my favorite pick on this slip by far. I do think this line does change, so if this line jumps up to 4, I would probably play it at 4, but if it jumps up to 4.5, I wouldn't play it. I would pick something else. So in this spot here, you got the Heat. They're taking on the Grizzlies in this spot. That's right. Let me just make sure. I want to be talking out of my ass here. Yeah, Grizzlies 3.5. Grizzlies are 3.5 point favorites in this game. So this is a spot where Norman Powell, he's really just been always like a consistent, rebounder every single game he's played. Especially on the Heat specifically. Last game he had I think he had 6 or 7 rebounds or something crazy. Bam Adebayo, he's going to be getting those rebounds. But I just think there's plenty of opportunities in this game specifically. I think there's lots of, I think this is a pretty fast-paced game. Lots of up and down. Plenty of chances to get rebounds. I mean, 3.5 rebounds is not that much. I mean, you could run into 3.5 rebounds. And this is a guy that's a pretty good rebounder as it is. So I really like this value. Getting at 3.5, I do think this line jumps up to at least 4. So I'll probably play it at 4 because I do think it can easily just get stuck on 4. But, 3.5, I think this is a very, very strong pick here. Very high probability of hitting. Jumping to pick number 4, we got Kevin Durant over 4.5 rebounds. We got him at 6.93. We got the Rockets taking on the Pistons, I believe, here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, Rockets and Pistons. Houston 6.5-point favorites here in this game. This is a guy in Kevin Durant, that's really been always a consistent rebounder as well in his career. I know he's on a team now in the Rockets that has Sengun, Jabari Smith, Amen Thompson. They're gonna steal some rebounds away from him for sure. I'm not saying they're not, but Durant's gonna be able to run into at least 5 rebounds in this game. In a game against the Pistons that, they do have some good rebounds on their side too. So I think everybody's gonna be fighting over rebounds. I guess you could say this might be a little risky, but a guy like Kevin Durant, asking him to get 5 rebounds in this game, it doesn't seem too crazy out of the equation. And my projection also likes him as well. You see, I got him projected up for 6.93. I just think this line's a little bit too low. I think this line should be at 5. If this line jumps to 5, I wouldn't play it. I'd probably pick something else. But getting at 4.5, I think it's very, very high likely, chance of him going over 4.5 rebounds in this game, which should be pretty competitive as well. So, I think that also has some factors in because, he can be a little bit more aggressive on the rebounding at some point, especially if the game's closer. And he's 7 feet tall, so he's got that long wingspan. He could just run into rebounds like that. So I think it's a great spot as well. Pick number 5, we got Toumani Camara over 5.5 rebounds. We got him projected at 7.32. This is another one where I think this line is a little bit too low for a guy like Toumani Camara. He's always been a solid, consistent rebounder in his career. And it's the spot where they're taking on the Warriors here. The Warriors are in the second half of a back-to-back, and I already know Al Horford won't be playing in this game because he's not going to be playing back-to-backs this year. And there might be other guys out in this game that are like consistent rebounders. Like I don't know if Draymond Green might be out; he could be out, or if they roll out one of the big stars like Butler or Curry. Steve Kerr is always like a guy that usually rests his stars on a back-to-back. And getting this line at 5.5, I think there's be plenty of chances for him to get rebounds. Already knowing that Al Horford's going to be out of this game. And Kamara is already a very solid rebounder as it is, very consistent. And, I think it's another spot where, you're playing a team that's just played an overtime game yesterday, coming in off a back-to-back. They're on the road again, so they're not like they're playing at home. So it's even more, of a factor in here. Really love this spot here as well. And, I think it's a very good chance he gets over 5.5 rebounds. Last pick of this slip. We got Mikal Bridges over 3.5 rebounds. We got him at 4.11. We got the Knicks taking on the Celtics here. Should be a pretty competitive game as well. This is my one of my more riskiest picks of the slip. Mikal Bridges hasn't been known as like a rebounder type of guy. So, this is kind of I would probably say one of my riskiest picks of the slip. And my projection, isn't the highest. I say it's okay, 4.11. But this is a game we're taking on the Celtics. The Celtics are, of course, without Jason Tatum, and they really don't have anybody like that's crazy rebounding on their team anyway. They got Neemias Queta, who looked pretty good in their opener, but Jaylen Brown, he's an okay rebounder. Derek White and Pritchard, they're not, phenoms out there when they're coming to rebound. They just run into them every now and then. That's what we're expecting Mikal Bridges to do here. He got like 5 rebounds against the Cavs on opening night. Against the Cavs team, that's a really good rebounding team anyway. He was still able to run into 5. We're just hoping he runs into 4 here. Again, this line could jump, but I expect this line to actually stay at 3.5, just because Bridges isn't known as a guy that really gets crazy rebounds anyway. But again, it is probably one of my riskiest picks of the slip. So take it with caution, but I do have some confidence in it hitting. But that's the main slip. Here are my game picks for today. We got Virginia Tech, California, over 50.5 total. Again, I think this is going to be a little bit of a California team that, comes out, making that trip across the West Coast to come out a little bit sluggish. Virginia Tech's able to score points with ease. But I do think California gets going later in the game, but I think it's going to be a little bit too late to win the game. Sprinkle in some Virginia Tech, minus 6.5. I didn't really, like that specifically just because I feel like this game could come down to like a, field goal type of situation. So that's why I didn't like the spread, but I do think Virginia Tech does win on the money line. But I'm taking the over here. I think the over's better value. Knicks 5.5. Again, this Celtics team without Jason Tatum, they shipped out Porzingis and Drew Holiday. They're a completely different look here. This is a Knicks team that's still got their core group of guys together. They got Mike Brown as the head coach now, which I think is a lot better than Thibodeau. So I think this is a Knicks team that has a chance to be contenders in the East this year. So I think they make a statement here tonight and win pretty big against the Celtics. Grizzlies -3.5. They're playing the Heat. The Heat came off that tough loss against the Magic. They played pretty well. Almost won that game. Probably should have won that game, but they ended up coming short. The Grizzlies, they look pretty fun. They look like a fun brand of basketball against the Pelicans on their opener. John Morant looked great. Jaren Jackson Jr. did pretty solid. I expect them to continue this on their home court. The Heat coming in here on the road. I really do like this pick here. I think the Grizzlies can definitely make a nice solid start to the season here and go 2-0. Lakers +2.5 or the money line here. You can pick which one you like. I'd probably say take Lakers money line for real because I think they're due for a win here. Taking on the Timberwolves should be a pretty fun game to watch here. I think Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic have a hell of a duel here between each other. Should be like they can easily go both for like 40+ points in this game. But I do like the Lakers here in this one. I think they do get their first win of the day, the season. Because the Timberwolves, they didn't look great against the Trailblazers. They did win, but they didn't look the sharpest. So I think the Lakers can definitely exploit some of their weaknesses. Suns +10.5. That's Suns in this Kings game on the opener was one of the craziest games of the opening day, I should say. They were down like 20 points or something. They came back and were able to win the game late. Devin Booker, they're playing a Clippers team that just came off a terrible loss against the Jazz. They were down like almost 40 points at one time. They just got absolutely demolished by a Jazz team that should be like one of the worst teams in the league. But the Clippers made them look like one of the best teams in the league. The Clippers have a couple new pieces on their team now. They brought in Bradley Beal. And I got to see how he does on this team. They also brought in Chris Paul on the bench. They're old. They're a very old team, specifically on the bench. And this is a Suns team that's very young. So outside of the main guy like Devin Booker, but they also have a lot of young pieces after the Suns blew up their roster in the offseason. But they still got Devin Booker. I think Booker's able to make some plays in this game. 10.5 points. I feel is a big spread for this spot. Really like the Suns here. So that's today's video, guys. Lots of picks here for you guys to take. Take what you like out of these. Again, for those PrizePicks lines specifically, these lines are subject to change. I do think they change. I do think Norman Powell goes up to 4. I do think Durant goes up to 5. Camaro might go up to 6. I don't know how they're going to feel. I do think Bridges stays at 3.5. But if any of those lines do change, drop a comment on this video, and I will give you guys, other options, other picks to pivot on because, I don't want you playing lines here that are like not the same line that I'm getting at because, it wouldn't be good value that way. I can probably figure out other picks for you guys to take that'll be better value. So if you guys want more picks, drop a comment on this video. If these lines do change, I will get you guys other picks to take that will be better value than the ones here. But looking ahead for Saturday, of course, we got college football. I don't think I'm going to do an NBA video. Let me know if you guys want an NBA video on Saturday. If you guys really want one, I will make one. But I think I'm going to focus on college football because college football is only around, for a few more weeks. It's hard to say we're already like halfway through the season, and college football will be gone. So I kind of want to focus on college football because NBA is going to be here, for the next, several months. So we're going to have that like every single day. We can take some stuff on there, but college football and the NFL too as well. That's coming up on Sunday. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.